Hello, class. Today we're going to be learning about the Civil War.
Oh my God, Teach. No one wants to learn American history. We want to learn about European history.
Oh my God. All right, why don't you teach the class then?
You know what? Fine. I will. European history is some of the most dense and important you'll ever learn. In AP European history, students explore the past of major European countries and empires spanning from 1450 to the present day. They also explore the impacts of political, societal, economic, and intellectual developments of the time period that shaped the entirety of Europe. We begin with the Renaissance. The Renaissance was simply a cultural upbringing of education and critical thinking spanning from roughly 1460 to 1648. Famously, significant pieces of art, literature, and technology dominated the time period, although not as famous then as they are now. The Renaissance served as the final keystone event that truly brought Europe out of the Middle Ages. At the same time, however, European exploration stemmed from improvements in navigation and shipbuilding brought on by the Renaissance. This new technology allowed explorers to travel further and faster. For example, the caravel, which was a much smaller and faster ship developed by the Portuguese, featured the first triangular sail. Many developments in culture were brought on by exploration. For example, the Columbian Exchange and triangular slave trade.
Didn't see there. Reformation permanently changed religion in Europe forever. Reformers of Europe argued for change in religious practices, opposing the Catholic Church. These rebels shaped new Protestant denominations who clashed with the Catholic religion, shaping religious conflicts that would lead to both institutions having to reform their practices. Reformation weakened religious unity while promoting individual belief, while also shaping new politics and education.
Following Reformation and the beginning of religious individualism, challenges against the popular monarch government spread rapidly throughout the continent. Many European countries moved away from the monarch system while developing a constitutionalist government, which limited the power of rulers through laws and representatives. However, many monarchs remained in absolutism, like King Louis XIV.
Now we begin with the scientific revolution. This era focused on logical thinking and scientific development, and lasted from 1648 to 1815, and encouraged observation, experimentation, and logical reasoning. Many of these so-called Enlightenment thinkers applied reason to politics and society, promoting ideas of natural rights and freedom. Logical thinking brought power away from the church, as many started following beliefs that challenged the religion. Some famous Enlightenment thinkers were John Locke and Isaac Newton.
Oh God. Turns out these Enlightenment ideas made a lot of commoners pretty angry at their monarchs, especially here in France. Massive levels of inequality combined with heavy taxes on the poor and wild levels of government spending led these peasants to revolt and overthrow the French government. The revolution led to radical change, including the rise of Napoleon Bonaparte, whose insanely successful military campaign spread revolutionary ideas throughout much of Europe.
As Europe recovered from the conquest of Napoleon, another major transformation began to take shape: the Industrial Revolution. New technologies such as the steam engine and railroad allowed for dramatically increased production for secondary goods. While the Industrial Revolution did increase economic output and accelerate urbanization, it also created terrible living and working conditions for most while increasing the wealth gap.
By the late 19th century, nationalism had become one of the most sweeping ideologies in Europe. Along with nationalism, military alliances and military technology began to raise tensions in Europe. Eventually, tensions boiled over in 1914 after the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand and the subsequent starting of World War I. World War I is widely regarded as the bloodiest conflict in human history and ended with an Allied victory over the Axis forces, mainly Germany. The peace that followed World War I was fragile and short-lived. The war devastated Europe and reshaped the political landscape. Instability, especially in losing countries, allowed fascist leaders to come to power, notably Mussolini and Adolf Hitler. Eventually, conflict erupted, with Germany as the main aggressor yet again. The Allied powers, Britain, Russia, France, and later the US, were able to eventually stop the Third Reich, but unable to stop the ethnic cleansing of Germany. Over 6 million Jewish people were systematically wiped out in concentration camps in the Holocaust. Following World War I, Europe became a central battleground of the Cold War. The continent was divided between Western capitalist nations aligned with the United States and Eastern communist nations in the USSR. Although the conflict didn't really involve direct conflict between the two superpowers, many proxy wars like the Vietnam and Korean War, along with competition in sports and the space industry, shaped Europe for decades. Even after the fall of the USSR in 1991, many developments from the Cold War still influence the whole world. Well, after taking A push, do you want to take AP Euro? I know I do.
And I do too.